Hello there everyone, so welcome to another faction overview. This time it will be for the Vale of Dorwinion. Now, they do have these unit restricted by elf-human choice. This is the main focus of the Vale of Dorwinion, because they at one point they will have to decide whether they go into the elves or the human roster. Both of them are kind of cool, but of course you might just decide to get elves. But that's up to you. That's up to you guys. I think it's actually depending mostly on the overall idea that you're having on the campaign. I mean, if you're having good finances, then for sure you should go into the elves, because they're just overpowered, and the main case is that they are extra costly. Man, I cannot get my camera where it will actually catch up better. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Vale of Dorwinion, they start with a very good thing. I think these guys have an average campaign. I'm going to show you why. Because you need to destroy Rune and Mortar, but you're actually pretty close to them. And hold 30 regions, I mean, it's a very decent one. But do note this, there's no enemies. You have some time to develop before you engage the Easterlings of Rune, which of course you will probably do so, in the early game, of course. Let me put the camera like this. I think it's better overall. Let me actually approach it here. Yeah, there we go. So, average campaign, that is my take. I think in terms of length, it won't be too problematic, specifically because you can just pretty much take the Black Gate and defend it, and even go around them and go into the other side for mortar. You have a very good opportunity for hitting mortar from the back, which usually other factions do not. So that's why I would consider it an average campaign. It has a lot of replay value, specifically because of the decision that you're going to have to make later on in terms of the units that you'll be picking. I'll show you that in a moment. Hang on a second. Now, in terms of early opportunities to pick settlements, then you have some decision making to do. I mean, there are some settlements nearby, here, here, and here. You also have some settlements on the north, but probably those will be picked by Dale or the dwarves. You also have some settlements here that might be picked by the Rune armies. So, you have some early picks in settlements, and they're all, pretty decent ones, I would say. Now, there's another thing here which I would like to mention, is that the existence of some forts nearby your areas, which is just so nice. I think there's even another fort near here that you can take, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, something around here as well. So you'll get decent forts so that you don't need to to have so much upkeep. This is just something really cool. In terms of mercenaries, let me show you that. These guys are very good in mercenaries. They have the privateer cavalry and privateer axemen. Both of them very good at what they do. They're very expensive, but don't let that discourage you. It's still a very decent mercenaries, and specifically for the time being, because you do not have anything like that earlier on. Another thing is that actually, right from the start, you can recruit that heavy cavalry unit because you have that ability, and you'll also have the Thorn Riders or the Mountain Thorn Crossbowmen very early available to you. So I think it's a very good early start. Let me just see here. Yeah, exactly. So, good mercs, you can recruit heavy cavalry from the start, which is just so nice. I would say that in terms of the upkeep, it's actually good. Let's check out the military then. Let's check out the military. So military for castles mainly, it's the easiest one. Whenever you select a city, just click on the castle and then you can see the upgrade for everything instead of just seeing the other stuff. So you can only recruit, mountain thorn crossbowmen or thorn riders. Later on, of course, you'll be able to recruit decent other stuff. In terms of barracks, you can get the bladesmen, decent militia unit, let's say. The thorn guard, these are spear wall units with 610 and this upkeep. This is pretty much one of the best pikemen, early pikemen that you can get. So it's really nice. And the Dorwinion men-at-arms, I mean 615 with this upkeep, this is still very nice. I consider it specifically for the Dorwinions actually really cool. Now let's see the ranges. So the archery range, you can get Thorn Crossbowmen. Now, they're effective against armor with a missile attack of 8, but the range is very low and very bad in accuracy. So these guys don't start with a good situation of that, let's say. With a good archer units, they really don't start at. But of course you can stance that with ballistas and catapults. Now, let me just see, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can get some other stuff. You can get the Avarian Elder Academy. Of course, this will provide the Avari units. You're going to see those very soon. Then you can get the Vineyard Shield Bearers. These are basic infantry, pretty basic actually. I would prefer this to be a Spearman unit, but it's still good due to the upkeep. And you get Vineyard Bowman, range unit, 150 meters and accuracy low. It doesn't pay off. I would consider these guys just for militia duties, in all honesty. Now, what else we've got? What else we've got? You got mines, of course. You got the Warriors Guild. Let me check. I think there's another thing that I would like to show. Oh yeah! This is your basic general unit. I want you to notice two things. First of all, for a general unit is very low in upkeep, specifically a heavy cavalry one. I mean, this is a heavy cavalry that's actually good against most unit types. 925. The charge bonus isn't that good, but I mean, these guys, 9 attack, it's higher than many other cavalry units. So just consider that you can actually arrive very soon to having, a general unit overall, which is so nice. You also have the Fort Town. In all honesty, this is one of the factions that can actually use the Fort Archers as well, even though their range is pretty bad. But you can improve your armies with some fort units. It's always decent. Now let me see, if I'm not mistaken, the building browser shows me different. When I go here, yeah, it doesn't show the Avari units or the other units. I'll show those on the custom battle map in a while. So I think the early on you have a good upkeep considering the financial status, because you start with no enemies and you can do this very good thing, which is early mines. You have gold mines here. I'm going to show you how much it provides. 900. Just this mine is probably responsible for you to getting 3 to 4 units right on the start. So you can get early mines, I think, everywhere. Oh, you can't, but you can actually get some ports. Hang on a second. Not this one. This. You can get some ports that will increase a little bit there. With the grain change, with the Great Hall, of course, will provide some bonuses there for the income. So I'd say build the Great Hall to get the High Paladins, and then just start building anything else that you want. If I'm not mistaken, Santa Nui does not have that as well. Yeah, just go for Great Halls, so that you get the discounts right from the start. But these early mines are so good. You also will have mines, if I'm not mistaken, by conquering these places. But yeah, so far, so far. That's cool. Now, the Avari units. I can already show you, by the way. Let me show some of these units. So the Avari Shadows, pretty much very elite unit. Exceptional accuracy, range 220. These are elite archers. That's what it is about these units. Kind of dislike that they do not have effective against armor, but that's okay. Avari Guard 1422. With that upkeep, it's actually a very low upkeep unit compared to these stats. And then you have this general, if I'm not mistaken, he's also Avari Elder Archers. There we go. Don't underestimate this. Missile attack 9. This guy is really cool. He has a light of Elbreth, to get more allied troops morale. That's awesome. Own army combat effectiveness. Just use this. Of course, this guy is really expensive, so always have him in an unexpensive state. Most of your generals are the high paladins, so consider using them well. And you have some special abilities with all your starting generals, which are, by the way, pretty much the 4 generals that you're gonna have throughout the game that will provide you some um, that will provide you um, some good combats, let's say. Now, you also start with this guy with the Knights of the Winter Court, which are 1425. I mean, these are really cool units. They have bonuses versus the Eastern Link Cavalry, so make sure you use that. Okay. So in terms of that, I think that is cool. I think this is one of the sections that you really want to start immediately with the mines and then the meeting halls and town halls that you get the bonuses for the discounts, because you have some time. As long as you keep recruiting some units, which you have the forts to allow you to get some upkeep, and you have the meeting halls that will allow more units to be recruited into the places, this means that you won't get attacked as often, because the AI will only attack you if they feel like you're weak. If you keep recruiting good units, then you wouldn't be. Now, I would honestly just build up the garrison quarters after the mine, so in 7 turns you will be producing the units that you want. And then in Coruscant you can always start producing better units as well. Build the Great Hall, build the Town Guard. You can produce some units in Centenary, which will be your main producing facility. And immediately do note that you have an infantry unit, you have a Thorn Guard, you have Thorn Crossbowmen, Bladesmen. You don't have specifically good units versus anti-armor, but don't underestimate your crossbowmen on that. So I think that's pretty much good versus what you're going to have. I mean, late army, you're going to need something that causes a lot of damage to armor, because both Mordor and Rune's armies are going to have that. Now, of course, there's a chance that you're going to have to fight versus Shadow of Mordor. That is a problem, but we're going to see about that. By the way, you do not start with any agents, but you can recruit both of them. If I'm not mistaken, here in Coruscant, which I would always advise you to get the Diplomat and the Spy. Diplomats can get many alliances and stuff, specifically with the northern factions. So you can pretty much just go on this direction and find 3 factions immediately to get more money out from them. Okay, guys? So let me quit this point and let me just go into the custom battles. Hopefully it won't crash. In single player custom battle. Sometimes it crashes. The reason for it is because, for whatever reason you cannot be on this menu for a long time. Okay, so you've already seen the Thorn. By the way, I'm going to show you that you're going to have the Regent X card. By the way, let me see. You have the Dorwinion Protectors. Let me just see one thing. Knights of the Winter Court. Yeah, the Regent units are the units from humans that you can choose, or you can choose the Avari units. So let me show you what the differences between one or the other. If you choose these after the event, you can have a very effective against armor unit. As you can see, excellent stamina, well armored, effective against armor, pretty much one good X-Men unit. You also get some Dorwinion Protectors, and you can have the Knights of the Winter Court. And remember, these guys also have bonuses versus the Cataphracts. You're gonna have the Spear Guard, so very good spear unit. And you're also gonna have the Regent Bowguard. So attack, the missile is 12, effective against armor. These guys, I cannot see the range, but of course it will be less than the archers, because these are crossbowmen. So you're going to have basically an upgrade to all of your units with the Regent units. You already have access to the Thorn Guards and to the High Paladins. Of course, you're going to have the Paladins of the Winter Court, a good heavy cavalry in the late game, even better than your High Paladins. because they do have a very good charge. Now, in terms of the Avari units, consider that the Avari Guard, 1320, it's pretty much the same thing as these guys. They have better charge, they have better stamina and stuff, but it's comparable, right? It's here on the Athala ranges and I'm sorry, in the Avari Shadows that you suddenly have good units. I mean, you've seen the range in these guys, and they're not even the Elder Archers, which are basically heavy infantry with archers additionally. So if you go into the Avari units, you won't have, what won't you have? You won't have a spear unit later on. I mean, you can have the pikemen, but these are pikes. They are not spearmen. Consider this. You know, Pretty much the late game Avari army would consist of Avari guards, Avari elder pikemen, Avari elder archers, and Avari nahanim, which are basically heavy cavalry with missiles. I do not consider these guys medium. I think the medium is because of the armor. But these guys, in terms of stats, they're actually as good as any others. I mean, they're pretty much the same thing as high paladins, and they're not as good as paladins of intercourse, but the fact that they have missiles, of course, causes a lot of difference here. So it's up to you. I think both the Regent units and the Avari units are good, which is also the strength of this faction. You can play as you wish. You can play as you wish, and you can play it twice and see the difference of what it meant to you. Considering that you're going against Mortar, archers are actually a good thing because, their units, they lack cavalry, they lack anything that can approach your archers, and they don't have effective archers at long range, so you're going to own them with your own archers. That would be my take. I would probably go into the the Avari units, because I want to get archers, specifically long range archers, I mean. I would go into the Regent ones if I'm feeling like I really want something against armor specifically, and not just the the pikemen. So it's a decision on you. If you like charging home with infantry and cavalry, just go for the Regent units. If you like the idea of staying back and hitting them, go for the Avari. That's about it. I think it's one of the most interesting factions. I would love that the other factions would get the same idea that you have to pick one or the other. I still assume, by the way, I didn't play it. I still assume that you have to pick one or the other. If you don't, then this roster is completely overpowered. But yeah, I think you have to pick at one point or the other. At least it has been like that on previous iterations of this mod. So that'll be it for Dorwinion. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next, not episode, but next faction overview. Bye bye.